Miller. One done if I know me a Tesha Miller. Yeah. Go on, youth, yeah, go on. Ease yourself, just keep it calm, youth, yeah, star. Only per pressure, I'm a corner. One time it hard to carry on. You no need no girl for turn to, no man for talk to. Feelings hurt, on the journey so far.
Wagwan Success family, this is 15-year-old schoolboy killed in drive-by shooting in Kingston. Fire destroyed Vybz Kartel lawyer Isaac Buchanan and lawyers representing Klansman Tesha Miller office building downtown Kingston that has crucial documents for their high-profile cases, including Vybz Kartel Clive Lizard Williams' important alleged murder documents. It is said that at least 7 attorneys operated from the building. It took firefighters 6 hours to put out the blaze, burning all the documents to ashes. I will also give an update on Vybz Kartel lawyer Isaac Buchanan filing an habeas corpus application for his release. Before that, 4 individuals, including 2 schoolboys, were shot during a drive-by shooting on Wild Street in East Kingston. Unfortunately, 3 of the victims, identified as Sabian Clark, Troy Dennis and Marquise Morgan from Holy Trinity High School, succumbed to their injuries. The attack happened when a Mark X pulled up on the victims and one of the occupants jumped out and opened fire. The condition of the second injured schoolboy remains uncertain and is likely under heavy police protection. I do hope he pulls through, as he's the lone survivor, because that would be a miracle, and I know his family and friends and well-wishers are sending those prayers up because Charger really need it right now. Watching the video and seeing everyone just heartbroken and in tears and just breaking down and just cannot keep a hold of themselves really breaks my heart, you may I tell you. I've said in many of my videos that we need to attack the root cause of these gang violence and these things that continue to happen to our young youths, because having to come and talk about things like these and making videos like these just keep getting harder. In regards to the fire that burned down Vybz Kartel lawyer Isaac Buchanan and many others' office, investigators are still trying to determine what was the cause of the fire or who did it. I could infer who did it: anyone who does not want to see Vybz Kartel take a foot outside of prison, unless this was just a big coincidence and Vybz Kartel and Tesha Miller documents for some reason just burn themselves because the case is so hot and left attended it just catch fire. Who knows? So despite the setback, as we know, Vybz Kartel lawyer Isaac Buchanan still managed to file the habeas corpus application for his release, and a hearing is scheduled for May 29 and 30th. We still do not know what the details are to the application, but I did a video yesterday talking about grounds he could use, so go and check out that video. Isaac Buchanan is definitely determined to do his job, and that's what he will do: set the office on fire, and he will have all the information back up on his computer or a thumb drive. And I feel like this should be a reminder to people that dealing with legal issues, anything can happen, and this is something we already know, but sometimes certain things have to happen and it just serve a reminder for people. And I must commend Isaac Buchanan because he didn't even want to talk about the situation. He's just ready to do what needs to be done for his client and move on. And how resilient and a competent lawyer too, because stumble blocks in your way, just get over it and you are ready again. I heard some people saying Vybz Kartel has 24 hours or 48 hours for release. That's not true. The timeline for Vybz Kartel potential release after Isaac Buchanan filed the habeas corpus application is uncertain and depends on many factors, including legal process. A habeas corpus application have to undergo a review by the court, which may take time to consider the arguments presented by both the defense and the prosecution, because the judge said the DPP is an interested party, and that is why they receive a copy of the habeas corpus application, and a 2-day hearing has been scheduled. It gives both Vybz Kartel defense team and the prosecution the opportunity to present their arguments before the court, to which the court will carefully review the arguments and evidence presented by both sides, making a decision on Vybz Kartel habeas corpus application. Now, if the court rules in favor of Vybz Kartel habeas corpus application and determine that Vybz Kartel and his co-accused continued stay, or you can say detention, is unlawful, then they will be released immediately. However, However, if the court denies Vybz Kartel habeas corpus application, then we know what will happen. Vybz Kartel will just remain in prison. But I believe this is where we will get to see Vybz Kartel, because there is no grounds on which the prosecution can actually argue that Vybz Kartel should remain behind bars. And when you actually think about it, why exactly would the prosecution try to make a case against Vybz Kartel release when they have been behind bars for a lot of years, especially since they are in limbo, not convicted, but also do not have pressing charges against them? I did not say the charges are dropped against them. They are just not pressing charges against them right now as we speak. They're waiting for the June 10 hearing to determine if there will be a retrial or release. Now, if Vybz Kartel were to get a release through a successful habeas corpus application, this would be a great victory for dancehall and for Vybz Gaza Nation fans, the whole 9 yards. And if Vybz Kartel actually do get released on the habeas corpus application that is lawyer filed, then you will definitely see Vybz Kartel popping up at some stage show or something. Maybe he will probably keep that big comeback stage show before his June 10 hearing. Vybz Kartel will definitely want to see his family, right? Regardless of everything, whether I'm gonna come do stage or whatever, it's all about his family, seeing his sons, his daughters, him woman get to lay down in a bed with him woman, spend the whole night, all of that. Just think about it. I also want people to understand that if Vybz Kartel get released by the habeas corpus application, it will be short, because even though the court determined that his continued stay in prison is unlawful or unjustified based on the legal arguments or grounds Isaac Buchanan put before them in the habeas corpus application, Vybz Kartel release would not last long, because remember, the June 10 hearing is coming up where they have to decide on a release or retrial, and I'm sure the court will place certain restriction on him if they were to actually release him. So that's a key point people should actually be aware of. Vybz Kartel June 10 hearing makes everything remain uncertain, but I know the public and dancehall fans would go crazy nonetheless if Vybz Kartel was released from prison, and I know Vybz Kartel will most definitely use that time for family, friends, and just people who really did support him when he was fighting his whole case and everything. Tesha Miller is not going out without giving them some problems. Apparently the hearing for Tesha Miller was delayed for 2 hours because Tesha Miller refused to leave the Tower Street Correctional Facility, but he eventually appeared in the Supreme Court clad in a white t-shirt and red shorts, but refused to sit in a designated seat, claiming mistreatment and the need for medical attention. So despite the delay, the court eventually proceeded with the hearing. Tesha Miller faces charges under anti-gang legislation for leadership, while his co-accused face membership charges. The judge issued a formal order for Tesha Miller to receive medical attention, addressing his complaint separately in another matter. Alright, so that is it. Thanks for the likes, thanks for the subscribe, thanks for the views, thanks for the comments. As always, I'm out.
Weeping and mourning is presently happening. There was a shooting incident in East Kingston, Wild Street to be specific.
My condolences goes out to all of the family members that was affected by this gruesome, brutal, incident.